in the first 10 box office spot for about 8 years.
And you know how fickle a business this is, to be so popular in 1 year and a few years later not to be popular.
Well, that's the entire problem with the performer, Tony. You're up today and down tomorrow. You never know. It's not like a working man or a clerk or someone in office. The average life of an actor is, well, it's the same as a studio. They sign a contract for 7 years, so they figure that's the average life of an actor.
I would think that a man in your position would be bitter about all this, but you have the old showbiz philosophy right on for the crest of the wave, up and down.
That's the only way to take it, Tony. That's the theatrical spirit. In other words, they always say the curtain must go up and the show must go on, and if you're not there, it still goes on. So what is the difference?
You were practically born in the theatrical trunk, was it not, in a circus trunk?
That's right, in the P.T. Barnum Circus. My mother was a bareback rider. My dad was a 24-hour man ahead of the show.
So your childhood was with the circus, traveling?
With the circus, always in show business. I've known nothing else but show business.
When did the association with Lou Costello begin?
About 22 years ago, Tony.
This place is at what, the mid-30s?
And let's see, 22, around 30-some-odd years. Around 35.
How did you come in contact with him?
In burlesque. And we like each other's work, and we just sort of teamed up.
The first big thing for the two of you was 1938 on Broadway?
No, the first was the Kate Smith show. That was in 1930. Yes, the Kate Smith Hour out of New York. That was in 1938.
A lot of those big radio shows in those days were...
Oh, they were big shows.
They were variety shows.
All variety.
Introducing new acts.
New acts, old acts, any kind of popular act.
The Rudy Valley Show.
Rudy Valley Show.
The Eddie Cantor.
Eddie Cantor. They were all on those days.
Sort of an Ed Sullivan of radio.
That's right. Then came The Streets of Paris. That was a Broadway show.
That's the one I'm thinking of, The Streets
of Paris. That was with Carmen Miranda. That was her first appearance in the United States, and Bobby Clark.
This had been in late 1938.
Yeah.
Then Hollywood called the next year?
Then Hollywood called, and we came out and made a picture and went back, and we went to the Steel Pier in Atlantic City. Steel Pier Minstrels, that's the oldest minstrels in the world. We played there for a couple of years, but we come out and made a picture, and we went back home. We no more than hit back in New York, and Hollywood called us back and said, get out here and sign a 7-year contract, and we've been here ever since.
What's that first picture?
One Night in the Tropics.
That was for Universal.
That's right.
And then they called you back, and the first of the big series, was it not that Army picture?
The Buck Privates.
Yeah, that's the one, followed by a Navy picture.
And in the Navy.
And you went through all the services, except the Marine Corps.
Yeah, we were the first. No, we were the first to do any of those service pictures. We were the first to do the Army routines, and the first to do the Navy routines. And
so the popularity really was right through the war years.
During the war years. It's a funny thing, Tony. They tell me this is pretty authentic. That the Japanese used to show our pictures over there to their soldiers and say, what are you worrying about the Americans for? Look at the kind of an army they got, and look at the kind of a navy they got.
This you've been asked before, and it's a question that intrigues everybody. How do the partners in a comedy team get along? For instance, we know that Laurel and Hardy were friends, but they were also more of business partners. They kept away from each other. We know that Martin and Lewis hated each other. How did Abbott and Costello get along?
Well, Tony, that's a tough question to answer. Teams like that, you're bound to have your little squabbles, the same as man and wife. Now, there's no man and wife deliberately sit down and honestly face you and say they don't have a squabble now and then. Well, it's the same with a team. In other words, we were together more than we were with our wives. So, in other words, it's like a marriage. So you do have your squabbles, but we got along wonderfully well.
How did you develop the kind of humor that you had between you? Was it a result of all those years in vaudeville, burlesque?
I think burlesque is the greatest background that anyone could ever have. It gives you a sense of timing, speed, and an action that very few people can muster today. I don't know where it come from, to be frank with you. It was a style of our own. It was all in timing, Tony. Just keeping things at a pace that very few comedians ever did. They generally went at a pace to tell a joke and another joke, but ours, we didn't wait for jokes. We just kept on talking and talked on each other. Just pacing.
Rapid speed.
Rapid speed.
Yeah. You never did anything highbrow. It was always
No.
kind of humor that anybody
Just,
did.
in other words, lay it right in their lap.
Yeah.
That's all. If they don't laugh at it, all right. If they do, all right, too.
But suppose you were both in your prime today. Would you use a different type of humor or the same?
Well, there wouldn't be any sense to that, Tony. In other words, the Greek philosopher says, you build a castle, I tear it down to build up another one.
Yeah.
We had our castle. Why change it?